Hey, what up y'all? Welcome to the Galaxy with your host Death, and today we have another New World video. So today we have a Wind Chill Mage guide. I'm going to be going over the gear, the stat points, the skill trees, etc. So let's get right into the video. So this build uses the Ice Gauntlet and the Fire Staff, and we're going to start off here with the skill trees for each weapon. Alright, so let's get into the Ice Gauntlet skill tree here. So first off, on the Ice Tempest side, we're taking Cold Reach, increase the damage of light and heavy attacks by 15% for targets further than 15 meters. Really good perk, good one to start out with. And next here we're taking the Wind Chill, the skill. We're taking the two buffs for that, Enduring Chill, increase the duration of Wind Chill by 1 second, and also Chilling Blast, increase damage of the last 2 meters of Wind Chill range by 25%. Then over next to that, we're taking Heavy Freeze. Heavy attacks will root a target if they are standing in Ice Storm or have Frostbite. Root lasts for 1 second, has a 4-second cooldown after the root expires, so that's a very important perk here, the Heavy Freeze. And then in the middle, we're not taking Spike, we're not doing anything there. So on the third here, we're going to take Critical Frost, increase critical chance by 15% when hitting an enemy in a frosted area or we're hitting an enemy with Frostbite. So this helps us when we get enemies, on our Ice Storm, and then we use our Wind Chill, we're getting that damage buff on top of all these other damage buffs. So that's how you really optimize the Wind Chill here. And then on the very right, we're taking Ice Storm, just a skill, and we're going to take all the perks for that, Weakening Gust, Storm Summoner, and also Punishing Storm. And that allows us to unlock Ultimate Chill, which also gives us Ice Gauntlet abilities, Chill Targets, increasing ice damage dealt to the target by 25% for 3 seconds. And that all meshes into the power of our Wind Chill here, so we want to get them Frostbite or get them with Ice, and then hit them with the Wind Chill for the maximum DPS potential. Then over on the right side here, for the main skill, we're going to take Ice Pylon, and then we're going to go down the tree here just for 3. We're going to take Greater Pylon, we're going to take Pylon Regen, we're going to take Pylon Dodge. We're not going to take the fourth one, which is Pylon Refresh. Basically a successful hit from the Ice Pylon extends its lifetime by 1 second. It is a decent one, but I'd rather just get the cooldown back and throw it somewhere else more important, because I don't want it to be standing somewhere that is not being optimized, so I don't really take that perk, and instead I focus on some more side perks here that do help the build greatly. And I'll start off with the first one here being Frozen Touch. So slow enemies by 25% by 2 seconds when they hit you with a melee attack while your health's full. I don't think many people are using this, but I do really like this, especially if you're not using Entomb or Burnout. You need any defense you can, so having this slow allows you to dodge away if you do get hit by a melee or caught off guard, so it gives you time to create distance to set yourself up to DPS them as they approach you. And after that, we are going with Defiant Freeze. Casting an Ice Gauntlet ability creates an Ice Hardened layer, granting 20% fortify for 2 seconds. So this is another great defensive perk, and this is really going to help you anytime you throw down a Pylon, you activate Wind Chill, throw down your Ice Storm, you're getting a 20% fortify, so for that initial burst, you're going to be super tanky. And then on the right side over here, we have Quick Frost, increase the movement speed by 10% in a frosted area, another vital part of the build, allowing us to stack that haste and move around quicker. And then lastly here, we have Refreshing Frost, reduce the cooldown of all Ice Gauntlet abilities by 20% when casting an ability in a frosted area. So as you can see, the build basically focuses around getting people in my Ice Storm, getting them Frostbite. It's giving me tons of buffs like Fortify and extra DPS, so then when I do set off my Wind Chill, my Pylon, I'm hitting for the maximum DPS potential that I can. So that's what this build is basically focused on, the defensive perks and then also the DPS perks. So yeah, that's the Ice Gauntlet skill tree. Now let's get into the Fire Staff. Alright, so if you've seen my other build videos before, the Fire Staff is still the same, but I'm going to go over it again for anyone who's new here to see this new Wind Chill build. So basically in my Fire Staff, I don't run Burnout. I do rather have the more DPS with the Pillar, Fireball, and Flamethrower. So let's go over the skills now. So on the very left here, we have Pillar of Fire. We're taking that skill, and we're going to take First Strike and also take Arson's Advantage, so we get extra mana back when we do those hits with Pillar of Fire. It already has a pretty low cooldown, and if you have the perk on your armor as well, it makes it really OP. So we definitely want to take the full tree on Pillar. And then on the right side here, we're going to take Clear Mind. When holding a Fire Staff and above 50% mana, gain 5% in power. So if you have focused on your earring, it gives you a 50% mana regen. I was doing some tests with like Flamethrower, and you basically never go below half if you have focused on your earring, so that's constantly giving you that extra 5% in power. So I think that's a very slept on perk now as well, to have on your earring, which would be focused, especially if you're using the Fire Staff to keep that mana above 50% and get that extra damage. Then right under here, we have the second skill we're going to take on the Fire Staff. We have Fireball. Of course, we're going to take the perks for that. We have Scorched Earth, make the burning last longer. We also have Catch, where it gives you 10% of your max mana when you hit them with the the fire staff ability and reduce cooldowns, which is really nice. So we're of course going to take that. And now some of the middle perks here we're going to be taking. We have clear casting. After not taking damage from an attack in the last 3 seconds, deal 5% more damage. Then to the left of that, we're taking Spell Slinger. Your fire staff abilities gain an extra 10% chance to critical strike. Then in the left corner here, we're taking Prophet of a Fire God. While holding a fire staff, your critical strike damage is increased by 15%. And lastly, that unlocks Ruins of Helios. Using a fire staff ability, places a 2-meter ruin on the ground that increases your damage by 25% while standing in the ruin. The ruin lasts for 7 seconds, cooldown 30 seconds. Now this was recently buffed, now it's at 25% damage, so this is super OP. You can get this down and cast your abilities in the circle, you're going to do a lot more damage. So that's basically the fire mage side of the tree. Now let's get over to the pyromancer. So for the pyromancer here, the skill, we are taking flamethrower, and we're going to take the whole skill tree for that. We're taking fire's reach, we're taking infernal flames, we're also taking pyro dancer, so we have no cooldown anymore on our flamethrower. And then we're taking a few side perks here, the first being kindle, burning lasts 20% longer. Now this is critical for the build as well, and you'll see why in a minute. Because of this perk here, let it burn. Whenever burn deals damage, gain 10% fortify for 2 seconds. So basically I'm stacking burn the way I hit flamethrower on so many different people. Every time it ticks, I'm getting fortified and my burn is lasting longer, so that helps me be more tanky. And if I combine that with also the ice gauntlet abilities I showed you, where when you cast an ability you get 20% fortify, so that's almost 30% fortify just from the 2 different skill trees there, among other things like your resilient armor, so it does help a lot with your resistance. And under this we have watch it burn, critical hits with the fire staff ability inflict a stack of burning, dealing 6% weapon damage each second for 6 seconds, really great perk. And then lastly here we have combat speed. When you activate a fire staff ability, gain 10% haste for 5 seconds, and you know me, I love my haste, and it's great for any mage build to be able to move faster than everyone else, so I highly recommend always taking any haste you can. Alright, so that's the fire staff skill tree. Now let's get right into the stat points here, shall we? Alright, so now we're into the attributes. So basically here, this is usually what I'm walking around at. So right now we have 307 int, 163 con, and the reason being is we're going to pop a con food that's going to take us up to 200 con, where we do get a 10% increase to physical and elemental armor. Now this is super OP to have. I know some people may say, oh, you do more DPS, you have higher int. I played lower con builds, but I find having the 200 con makes you a lot more tanky and be able to survive a lot more, to, you know, throw more CC down, and it actually helps you do more damage in my opinion by being able to live long. So I definitely recommend the 200 con. I run this on all my builds. That makes me feel super tanky and allows me to make some crazy plays. So yeah, that's basically the stat points here. So a lot of people were asking about that. So yeah, we go 300 int at least, and then 160 con. Use your rabbit food to get to 200 con when you're ready to PvP. Alright, now we got the stat points out of the way. Let's start taking a look at the perks and armor. Alright, so let's get right into the armor and the weapons here. Alright, so first off, I'm going to start with the weapons. So right here we have the fire staff. So I'm using a fire staff with an ice gem. If you did see a previous video before, that is because I do use my fire staff a lot when people are affected by the ice abilities, so I like getting that extra damage by having the ice gem in my fire staff. And for perk wise, I am running keen speed. I do think this is a very important perk. You definitely want to have it at least on your fire staff or on your ice gauntlet to trigger. Then followed by the keen speed, I also have the mortal energy, so whenever I kill something I'm gaining a free dodge basically with the 35 stamina. There's only a 1 second cooldown, so I think this is a really good perk as well to help keep mobility moving and get away from situations. Lastly, we have empowering fireball, where the fireball impact deals 50% additional damage, which is super OP and a great part of this build. So then let's get right into the ice gauntlet here. For the ice gauntlet, we are rocking keenly empowered, and unbroken winds. So one of the most important parts for this build is you're going to want to get an ice gauntlet with the unbroken winds perk on it, because that allows Wind Chill to have grit and deal 40% more damage. You also gain 10% mana after a full Wind Chill burst. I also recommend to try to get one with a damage perk on it that you can trigger with Wind Chill. A side note, Wind Chill does not crit, so you definitely want to have something else to get your crits for you. That's why in this build I do run the pylon, so when I throw down the pylon and that gets a critical hit, that triggers my keenly empowered, and then when I do switch to the Wind Chill, I get that 15% extra damage from the keenly empowered as well. So that's a big part of this build. You'd like to have a proc perk on your ice gauntlet if possible with the unbroken winds, or if you're just starting out, any ice gauntlet with unbroken winds will be good enough for now to get you started. Alright, so that's the weapons. So now let's get into the gear. So for the gear here, this is the helmet I'm wearing. This one isn't the best. Just a side note here, this is my alt account, so a lot of my gear is different than my previous build videos that I've done on my main, but this just shows you that you can get on an alt and you can get some gear fairly cheap, and you don't really need full bis to be successful with your build. So basically on my helmet here, I'm running Freedom, Pylon Burst, and Refreshing Ward. In the future, I do want to upgrade this and get rid of the Refreshing Ward because I don't benefit from that too much with this build. But I do have the Freedom here. I've been testing that out with the slows and stuns expire 11% faster, and that's been really good for me. But also the important note here on the helmet is the Pylon Burst perk. Now, a lot of people are sleeping on this. I barely see Pylon stuff on the market, but having this perk adds so much DPS to your Pylon. Basically, Ice Pylon deals 5.8% more damage and a burst of damage to foes within a 3-meter radius whenever it fires its projectile. I always try to put this like right under people's feet because they don't expect the damage to come out, and throw Wind Chill on top of that and you usually get some KOs. Yeah, basically you want the Pylon Burst perk for sure on your armor. Next here we have my chest plate, and on the chest we have Vigor, Resilient, and Refreshing Pillar of Fire. So this is a pretty good chest piece. I have my defensive perk, my weapon perk, and also Vigor, which is so-so perk, but it does help with the 11% burn, bleed, and poison expiring to keep me alive longer. So yeah, it's basically my chest piece I'd prioritize. Make sure in your gear set try to have a few pieces of Resilient or Shirking Forward if possible, because when you're not using Entomb or Burnout, you definitely need to be a little tanky. Alright, next here we have my light gloves. Now these are actually insane. I wish I had these on my main because I love this perk roll. The interesting one here is Empowering Breaker. That is a perk you can only roll on the gloves. When your attacks are blocked, you gain a stack of Empower, increasing damage by 4% for 5 seconds with 5 stacks max. So you can really add up some extra DPS here, and when you are using Flamethrower, you do hit a lot of people while they're blocking among other skills, so it does add up great. So I highly recommend if you can get Empowering Breaker on your gloves, it is a great perk to have. But the main one you do want to have is Accelerating Flamethrower, not just on your gloves but any armor. But basically having this perk applies 3 stacks of burn damage, will give you haste and increase the movement speed by 20% for 2 seconds, and burn from Flamethrower lasts 15% longer. So this all plays into giving you more fortify now that the burn is lasting longer, and the haste is actually a little faster and lasting for a few seconds to get you out of those CCs and etc. And then to top it off, we also have Resilient. Now I know this is 3 perk stuff. If you're just starting out, don't worry about that. You can just start off with 2 perkers. You know, you can get yourself a nice purple with say Flamethrower and Resilient for probably like 10k on the market or something, and that'd be good enough to get you started. Alright, next here we're going into the pants. Now in the pants I don't have a weapon perk at all. I just picked these pants off the market for like 20k, which was a pretty good deal in my opinion. So on these pants I have Shirking Energy. So Shirking Energy is a super OP perk. It's going to help you a lot when you're in those tight situations. Even if a musket's shooting at you and missing, it's going to give you extra stamina so you can keep dodging. There is a 6-second cooldown though, but it does give you 29 stamina when you dodge and attack. On top of that we got some more Resilient and then Invigorated. Alright, next up here we're going to get into the boots. So on my boots here we have Resilient, we have Unending Thaw, and this has been updated where Ice Storm deals 5.8% more damage and frost effects remain on enemies for 2 seconds after exiting Ice Storm. Then we have another Invigorated. So if I do make some changes in the future, I'll probably upgrade these boots or these pants to get rid of the second Invigorated. I don't mind having 1, but 2 isn't the best. But as you can see, my gear isn't the absolute best. It's decent, but I do very well with it. That's all you need to get going, and you can slowly do upgrades as you keep moving. Alright, so that's my armor. Now let's get right into the jewelry here. This is where I also have some fun new perks. We'll start with the earring. So on the earring here we have Healthy Toast. This is one of the most important perks for the build, so you can heal with those mana pots. I definitely recommend to have Healthy Toast. Refreshing Toast is a must on your earring. Even if you just get a purple to start out, you need those 2 perks. So that's Refreshing Toast, Healthy Toast, and then the new perk we have on here now is Focus. This one was actually recently buffed, so now it's a 49% mana regen, and it's actually crazy for this build. Like I noticed here, like I'll start Flamethrower. Look how slow my mana goes down having this perk. And if you do notice on the Fire Staff tree, it does show when you're above 50% mana, you gain 5% more damage. So having this perk is keeping that triggered for me longer than usual, which is a free DPS buff. So pretty cool having Focused on your earring as well. Alright, then next up here we have my ring. So basically I'm using a ring with Hardy, Ice Damage. Ice Damage is the perk I recommend here greatly. You definitely want Ice Damage, so all your Ice Damage skills are doing more damage, and also with the Ice Gem in your Fire Staff you'll be doing more damage with that portion as well. And then the third perk here I do have Siphoning. It's not the best perk, it was just a 3 perker I seen for a decent price on the market, so I got it. But in the future I definitely try to trade Siphoning for like Mortal Empowerment or Invigorated Punishment or something like that, but this is good enough to get started for now. Alright, so then lastly here let's get into my necklace. Then here on the necklace we have Stamina Recovery, Aladdin, alacrity and health. So basically you need stamina recovery, you need health on any build, but the interesting perk here I have that's kind of new, well, it's not a new perk, but it has been buffed, is alacrity. So basically haste you apply lasts 30% longer. This is actually pretty insane when you're already looking at how on the fire staff, say keen speed gain 20% haste for 10 seconds, so that's going to be 30% longer. That's an extra 3 seconds just on the keen speed from the fire staff. And then you also have like your accelerating flamethrower haste you're activating, and also the haste from being in like a frosted area on your ice gauntlet. So this alacrity perk I think is pretty OP for builds right now, and I noticed a huge difference since I started using this. So basically if you don't have access to jewelry like this right off the hop, what I do recommend to do is just do your PvP track, and there's some other jewelry in there called champions. You can get basically a necklace just like this, but it has stamina recovery, health, and shirking and power, which is actually really good as well. So you can get that one for free just by doing the PvP track. You can also get the champion's ring, which has invigorated, refreshing, and hardy. You can also get that for free from the PvP track. And then an earring, you can also get one, I believe it has refreshing toast, regenerating, and refreshing, the champion's earring for free, which is really good as well. The only thing is this one doesn't have healthy toast on it, so I'd recommend, if you can, just go buy a purple with healthy toast and refreshing toast for now. So yeah, basically that's all my gear, my weapons, my jewelry. I'll talk a little bit more about the resistance here. So I am rocking full diamonds on my armor, and I'm rocking full onyx in my jewelry. And then as on the fire staff, I like to rock the ice gem for that extra damage. And then on my ice gauntlet, I do rock the opal for that 15% damage while your stamina is not full. So yeah, that's basically it for my Wind Chill Mage build guide. I hope you guys learned something. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. It's your boy DethGalaxy, and I'm out. Peace.